guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Write this down. Write it down. You like writing things down.
Okay, note to the show, stop making optimistic Twins predictions.
Yep.
Looking at the accountability session.
I was going to say, yep.
I asked for 3 GD wins, and on Sunday, it's the 5th inning. Things are going good. I've covered a win the day before. I'm like, all right, this 0-4 start is behind us. We're going to be okay. Dex is also going to write that down point. Not even close.
It's now the Score North Saints show.
Oh, yeah. I watched Zebulon shove. Well, he was pretty good yesterday.
That's his real name, Zebulon?
Zebulon Daniel Matthews.
Okay.
Very biblical.
The Zeb Master.
Very biblical, yes. But yeah, pumping 98. In fact, that's a good little tease. Some Twin Show notes from St. Paul that I have on an episode probably today on the Score North Twin Show.
All right.
And then I'm going to give you guys the same disclaimer that I gave you on the Purple Daily. Write that down as we plow through our recordings here on this Wednesday. We have not gotten to the Flagrant Howls recording, which is our hottest Wolves takes. And I will exclusively be thinking about filleting the Timberwolves and Chris Finch and Anthony Edwards while we make these predictions here.
You've got a platform right here.
My anger is brewing. Kyle texted me that he got drunk after the game and was up late just stewing. He's going to join us for hottest takes as well today. He said, I got drunk last night because of the game and researched dinosaurs on Google. And he sent me a screenshot of how many years ago did dinosaurs exist?
You sure he was drunk?
I was going to say, that would not be something I would research drunk.
I will say
non-bird dinosaurs lived between 245 and 66 million years ago during the Mesozoic era, according to Google.
One of my favorite things is a good Wikipedia wormhole, just searching the randomest things that you shouldn't be looking up in insomnia. It's 11:30 at night. I should be in bed. My wife's asleep next to me, and here I am. So what happened? How did the Hoover Dam get built? And I'm on Wikipedia, just looking at the history.
What's he doing over there? What's he thinking about?
Here's my question. What was the purpose of dinosaurs in the first place?
The purpose? What's the purpose of us? Man,
what's the purpose of anything?
Yeah, you've opened up a can of worms.
We got lots of stuff going on here. We got sports. We got lots of stuff. We got shows.
Judd, you might need a therapist.
Like a dinosaur. The dinosaurs, they're extinct because they're stupid. Why were they here in the first place? Stupid.
Are they stupid or did an asteroid hit?
No. They were stupid. They were stupid. I learned about this in school. Very, very dumb.
Are you sure it was?
Sort
are
like
you sure
horses.
You were learning the truth in
sort
school?
Like
I don't know if we know.
Well, an asteroid might have hit. But I'm curious about like the existence of the dinosaur. What was the purpose?
It is now. Some people just think it's all just made up, and I don't know. I don't know what happened. How are we supposed to know what happened 240 million years ago? That's my biggest question.
Well, I believe that dinosaurs existed. So I firmly believe that. I just don't know. I would like to know their purpose, what it was. Like they just roamed the earth as these stupid, huge, dumb creatures.
Yeah. At some point, though, in another 200 million years, another species is going to be like those humans that were watching basketball games with anger in their minds and hearts. These idiots.
There might be planets outside of our solar system where those conversations are taking place right now.
Probably. Look at those. Look at the way that team is playing defense in the fourth quarter. They are melting down. Wow, that is a suboptimal basketball IQ.
Write this down.
It's very odd that this man is watching basketball. Look at him watching basketball and getting all upset about his team losing.
I have one other thing on this because Declan's like talking about just random things that you Google. Yeah. And there was I think it was like a year ago, there was a thing going around TikTok and Instagram where women were asking their boyfriends or husbands, how often do you think about the Roman Empire?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that on TikTok. Yeah.
Which is because the thing is like women were trying to say, at no point do I ever think about the Roman Empire.
Right.
But then their husband would say probably 5 times a year, I think about the Roman Empire. They're like, why are you thinking about? So if I would ask you guys, how often do you think about the 1998 Vikings?
Oh, quite a bit.
Like weekly, daily,
like just
monthly?
in passing, like just in passing though. So it's
not like a topic on the show, but like you're cooking dinner or you're at a restaurant and you think about
25 times at least
a year.
Oh yeah.
It's less for me because I didn't, even though I'm aware of the team, I was like 5.
But
so
the 2000,
I have no connection
Dante,
to that team.
But Dante, you think about Dante
all the time.
probably.
I think about Dante and Teddy all the time.
So it's the same question.
All the time. Yeah.
How often do you think about the time where fans were throwing batteries and hot dogs at Chuck Knobloch in left field, and Bob Casey, the PA announcer, said, "This is a playoff game now. Quit this."
Probably 5 to 10 times a year.
Yeah, that one's a lot.
I think I was there. So like,
My sister was. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, I don't fixate. What does it creep into my thoughts? Absolutely.
And then it's gone, and you're on kind of.
And then I'm like, Chuck, why did he have the throwing problem? Like at second base, like what happened to cause that? And then it's just a whole thing where I'm just like caught in thought about stuff.
I think about the throwing yips probably 6 times a year. Just like,
at least,
how does that happen?
Right.
What would it feel like if you had the throwing yips? How would you correct it if you had the throwing yips?
And anytime a guy, if you are watching a baseball game and like a pitcher sails a ball or something weird,
like
you
yesterday.
instantly go to throwing yips. Like Griffin Jacks.
Yeah.
You got that throwing disease?
Write this down.
Anyway.
Anyhow,
What a
here's how
great
Write That Down works. The OG edition of Write That Down. 10 years plus of predictions. We're the only show in America, this and Purple Daily, that actually puts statistics next to our predictions. It's 3 predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of batting averages and home runs. And listeners, if you want to participate like Mike is about to once again, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app. We'll get you scheduled. All right, we'll start with Judd's accountability.
Oh, I came close here.
Matt Wallner will homer in Thursday's opener.
He tripled in his first at bat off the right field wall.
Yeah, I think in July
Right
that
center
might have been a bomb.
Yeah. Concrete hasn't settled.
You know what? Ordinarily we would just wait to take this off the board, but based on how disgusting the fourth quarter was last night and his role in it, you said Anthony Edwards will win the NBA MVP in 2024-25. This is not even like in question, but ordinarily we just wait out of respect to take it off the board.
If they had won last night, am I subject to this red?
No.
So this is just, you're just raging right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Straight up.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
I understand. Yeah, it makes sense.
I just want to make sure. No, that's fine. If it
Just
makes you
standing there
feel better to
confused.
penalize me this week for that, if that helps at all, I am fine with it.
Literally standing there for the entire fourth quarter, staring at a 2-3 zone like it's dinosaurs from 250 million years ago.
Why do we exist?
Do you guys remember? Do you guys recall? I want to say, was it Tubby Smith's Gophers team against Northwestern? And Northwestern would play a zone, and the Gophers would look like they had never played basketball before.
It was a 1-3-1 zone.
Okay,
Which,
that's what
by
this
the
was
way,
like.
a 1-3-1 zone. When you have guys like Rodney Williams and I think Trevor Mbakwe, these guys who can just absolutely backdoor cut to the rim, and they just they would just throw the ball around the top of the key for 35 seconds and launch a dumb shot. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I said the Wolves would get to 50 wins by the end of the regular season.
The rage continues.
I had a tweet crafted last night. I went back and found the video clip that Declan put out, or maybe AJ, on Score North social media on March 5th, in which I went through the remainder of the schedule and showed you they're going to go 18-3 to finish the season, and here's how. And when they were up by 24 points, I literally had a tweet crafted, like recalling that video from a month ago.
Yeah, baby.
And I almost pushed send when they were up by 24, but I said, it would look really bad if I put this out and then they somehow blew this lead. So at least I'm learning. Said Bailey Ober's next start will give the Twins at least 6 complete innings and 2 earned runs or fewer. It was like 5 innings. It was a good start, but 4.
Yeah, it was 4. Yeah,
So it was nowhere
short.
close.
Yeah, it was short.
And he lost like
It was
20
not a great
pounds.
start. It was
8
unfortunate.
pounds, yeah.
I said the Wolves would trail the Nets by double digits in the first half or be trailing in the second half. Even when I correctly predict the volatility of this team, it's mistimed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listener Dylan said Kaprizov will set a new record for goals this season with 48 or more and have 100 points on the season. I think the math is going to be pretty tough on that.
Prediction coming up.
This one should have come off the board a long time ago because Brady said KOC, Chris Finch, or John Hines would win Coach of the Year. Well, Chris Finch and Johnny Hines aren't exactly in the running, but KOC won the Coach of the Year.
Right, yeah. Good for him. All right.
And then Dex had 4 things come off the board. We'll start with the bad. Correa would hit his first home run at some point in the last week. Jeffers would hit a homer in the home opener. And the Twins would win at least 3 games at some in the last week.
Yeah.
Phil's disgust right now is awesome. Like, you are absolutely so angry.
Yeah. It is. It's one of the worst losses in the history of a miserable franchise last night. The other loss to the Bucks this season is in the top 10, because they've played the Bucks twice. In one of the games, they were up by 24 points in the third quarter.
Get it out.
Up by 22 points in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. In the other game, the Bucks sat Giannis and Lillard, and they still lost to that team.
Your poor wife. She's going to have to hear about this for at least all of today, probably last night.
I have not subjected her to.
And perhaps into tomorrow at some point. Why are you so mad? Nothing.
Declan did say Paul Heyman would align himself with CM Punk by WrestleMania.
Tribal Chief. Gotta love Paul Heyman.
So listeners lead the pack with a 294 average. I'm at 250. Declan 152. Judd 091 on the season.
What is going on?
I've got 2 homers. Declan has 1. Listeners and Judd still looking for their first homers. All-time stats dating back to 2018. Declan a 341 average. Judd 317. I'm at 278. Listeners at 266, but they have the most home runs. The listeners with 70. All right. That's
with
your
that,
accountability session.
Let's
get Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Mike making his return.
Hey, guys.
Still
Careful,
supporting
Mike.
the Twins
Tread
on
lightly.
your head.
Yeah, I mean, returning after going 0 for 3. I got to bolster some of those stats for the listeners. This is a disappointing, first time here. I've got to come back and make sure I do better this time around. I watched the film, as you said, Phil, and we're going to make this a little bit better of a go around here. So
okay, so Mike and Carlos Correa. We'll see who can do some damage offensively first this week. So, yeah, Mike, you know how this works. We'll start with you, over to Judd, back to Dex, around to me. We'll make 3 trips, and
Write this down.
fire away, man.
All right, so Twins related. So offseason was a huge disappointment. They're off to a terrible start, uninspiring start. Lineup's a mess. Pitching is a mess. The fielding has regressed, which I thought was impossible after watching last season. But 15 and 35 over their last 50 games, that's awful. As Dex, you tweeted yesterday, they do nothing well. They do nothing good. So I was hopeful that new ownership would come in this year at the deadline. They'd be able to make some moves. I don't see that happening. Obviously, if they do get new ownership, it's probably going to be too late. And who knows what new ownership would actually do to this team. The marketing around the Twins TV has been non-existent, so I don't see a revenue push there either. And apparently the organization's just run bad in general. Like, if I go to Target Field and I have to pay $28 for a double Bacardi Diet Coke, and you are still $425 million in debt, there's a problem there.
You know what's crazy, real quick, before you even go further? You just listed out a bunch of correct facts about this organization. And if I were to then come in here and say, despite all of that, let's promote Derek Falvey to not only oversee baseball operations, but the entire business operation of the organization. Head exploding. Head exploding emoji.
Hey, Mike, rise up.
Okay.
Just rise up, okay?
All right. Yes. Is that like a row the boat type mantra?
I have no idea what it means, but we rise
as one.
Rise as
Is
one.
it rise as one?
Yes.
Rise as one.
And
Rise up in anger as one.
one person in each section now. That's what it is. Hey, you in 227, rise up. Hey, thank you.
Paper bag and the sign. That's what we all got to do, right?
Oh,
We rise as one to hit weak ground balls to the second baseman.
So, all right. Getting to the whole point here. The organization is a mess. So my write this down is that the Twins will trade away a 2025 All-Star before the trade deadline. They'll probably only have one. Might be Castro, might be Duran, might even be Bader with how he started. But they're going to trade an All-Star from their 25 team before the trade deadline to try to get some of that $425 million debt back into the fold here. So
Interesting.
Write this down. They're going to trade an All-Star.
If they're bad and Correa comes back to life a little bit, and Correa has a full no trade, right? But I do wonder, just based on, he can't be happy with the state of the organization. He's been a part of it with his slow start this year and being unavailable last year. But would they come to an agreement if a team would pick up even a portion of his salary, where this could be his last year in a Twins uniform?
Read the body language. He's disengaged.
Yeah, it's kind of a...
Well,
Write this down.
and he cannot run. It's painful.
He's going to lead the league in
Literally.
GIDPs.
It's painful for him to run.
Yeah, no, it's painful. All right. You know what? I was going to make this prediction last week. Things sort of turned around a little bit, so I didn't make it. I should have had the stones to make it then, but I will make it now. Rocco Baldelli will be fired by August 1st.
Wow.
And here's why. I think Derek Falvey, the president of baseball operations for the Twins, does not want to do this. I think he's very much aligned with Baldelli. But now, as the president of business operations, something is going to have to be done. Like, apathy is reigning here. People think that the team's a mess. It is. People think that Baldelli is terrible. He might be. I don't know. But somebody is going to have to pay the price. And you cannot trade, as the old cliche goes, the entire team. You can trade one guy. But I think Rocco, just for the sake of the fact that people are not engaged, that they're trying to literally sell a television product, and the fact that on a really nice, sunny, not really warm, but still Sunday afternoon against the Houston Astros, you drew 14,000? I think Rocco Baldelli, unfortunately or fortunately, pick your own adventure here, pays the price.
To that point, real quick, I will acknowledge it's really hard to quantify the impact of a manager. I know there's like Baseball Prospectus has tried, and there's been some different publications that have tried to assign like a wins above replacement to a Rocco Baldelli or a Terry Francona. Yep. But it's hard because so much of what a baseball manager does, there's things that you can see, like which reliever are you choosing to bring in? But then there's information behind those decisions that we aren't privy to. This guy's a little sore from his outing 2 days ago still, or like, so much of what a baseball manager does is unquantifiable. So I will blanket my question with that. But do you think Rocco Baldelli is a positive force for the Minnesota Twins? Like that they would actually be worse than they've been at times the last 3 years, if not for Rocco elevating something above where it should be? Or is it likely that he is at best a non-factor and at worst making the team worse than it should be?
I think the end of last season was not a fluke. And I think that the clubhouse, something happened. And part of the problem too is so let's play this entire thing out just a little bit here quickly. If Correa is disengaged, okay, he is the guy. Like he is the straw that stirs the drink in the clubhouse. I don't think Rocco's ever been that guy. I don't think he commands the clubhouse. I think that you know, as he talked about too, he was very fortunate. 2019, he walks into a clubhouse that had just gotten or had Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz controlled that team. And so I would say that as an overall, just from all of the perspectives, he is too much of a non-factor, but I'll defend him a bit. I don't even know he deserves to be fired, but they're going to have to do something. You can't sit and watch this. Like, this is terrible business.
All right, Dex.
Let's make some Masters predictions. Make some Masters predictions, all right?
Let's hear it. Let's calm down.
Bitching about dinosaurs and the Twins for the last 20
bitch
minutes.
about
Let's talk Masters. Let's talk Green
What
Jacket.
was their purpose, friends? That's what I asked about the dinosaur.
That's the
Why were they
pterodactyl.
here?
The pterodactyl.
Here's the pterodactyl at 6.
Write this down. This year's Masters winner
This just helps.
will be a first-timer. No repeat. It'll be a first-time winner this year at the Masters. A first time wearing the green jacket. Write it down.
Okay. Well, there's one very prominent name. I'm just going to go there. I'll make a Masters prediction too. Rory McIlroy
Oh, I was thinking.
finally breaks through.
I was going to say that.
First major in over a decade.
Yep.
And he will finally be allowed to the Masters dinner as a champion. Rory McIlroy wins the Masters, is my prediction.
And he'll think dinosaurs everywhere
Yeah.
when he finally wins. I'd like to thank the pterodactyl.
For spawning my career resurgence. All right, back to Mike here.
We got all that negative energy out, so I'm going to rise up. I'm going to roll.
No, I assure you, we did not. Because
I
I'm
will
staring
get-
at my
I will
next
get.
two predictions here.
The music did help, though.
It did help.
Just
Like, my
it
blood
just
pressure's
calms
down,
you. Your
for
blood
sure.
pressure comes way
Yeah,
down
for
when
sure.
you think Jim Nance and
All right. So NFL draft and Gopher football related. So it was a good season for PJ, but per usually they left a couple of games on, a little bit of meat on the bone. They obviously lost one or two games they probably shouldn't have lost. They think that's what held them back from a breakthrough season. But that Penn State game, that felt big. Crowd was big, felt big time. The team really showed up. They definitely had talent on this team. So my write this down is that the Gophers will have 6 players drafted in the 2025 NFL draft. Just for some context there, from 2007 to 2014, that's the Brewster era and the beginning of the Kill era. They had 6 players drafted for that entire 8 draft cycle, if you will. So 6 is a big deal for one season. So I think it's a reflection that PJ is obviously bringing in some talent, and I look forward to seeing what they do next year with a new quarterback and with a roster that should be pretty well intact, even after losing 6 players to the NFL.
Love it.
Write this down.
All right, Judd, back to you.
All right, so the reports are swirling. It looks like Jules Eriksson and Kirill Kaprizov back tonight for the Wild against the Sharks.
Oh, nice.
It's been a long time, so write this down. Kirill Kaprizov will score a goal for the Wild tonight against the Sharks.
You already have that prediction on the board, that he will score a goal his first game back.
Damn, do I? Okay, then hold on a second here. I'll add to it. I'll add. He will score a goal, and Jules Eriksson will score a goal as well. How about
There we
that?
go. Yep, I can add
So
to
both of the returnees, and I'm not positive, but it looks like they are tracking to be back tonight. Both of them will score goals.
it. Okay, let's get it.
Write this down.
Dex?
All right. I'll make another Masters prediction.
Oh, wow.
The 5 favorites right now to win, in order in terms of odds, are Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Colin with 2 L's Morikawa, John Rahm, or Bryson DeChambeau. Those are the 5 favorites to win. But write this down. At least one of them misses the cut.
Okay.
At least one of the 5 favorites to win the Masters. And Scheffler, Rory, Colin, Rahm, DeChambeau, at least one of those 5 misses the cut.
Hate the negativity.
Write this down.
Okay, write this down. One of 2 things or both will happen between now and the start of next Wolves season. Chris Finch fired and or Tim Connolly leaves the organization. Off the record,
Goes back to Denver?
I could see Tim Connolly going back to Denver. Family loved it there. They have an opening now, and then maybe they feel like, oh man, with the one that we let get away, he helped build this thing. Obviously, Mike Malone is available if Connolly stays, and we could have a greater discussion about that on Flagrant Howls today if the Timberwolves make a move there. Not great timing right now if you're Finch to watch a complete meltdown happen, and if it continues into the playoffs and maybe they get beat in the first round, and a guy like Mike Malone is sitting out there or Taylor Jenkins.
There's a lot of good coaches.
It would
out
make
there
you.
now.
It would. You'd have a meeting about that. You would have a meeting about that at minimum. So,
Write this down.
all right, back to Mike for your third and final prediction.
All right, WrestleMania, WWE related. So WrestleMania is in about 10 days. I don't have to go all Jesse Ventura on the bit here. Let's get straight to the point. John Cena will beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, become the 17th time champion, surpassing the University of Minnesota's own Ric Flair for 16 all time, if you will. So yeah, that's my prediction. That's going to happen on WrestleMania here in about 10 days.
Ric Flair's on social media being like, well, I mean, they say it's this many championships, but it's really hard. If you go back, it was probably more. His ego can't handle this. Awesome work here, Mike, with your return to write that down. Since you've got this platform again, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, so 3 groups. So last time I did the family, we'll do some of the fellas this time. So the real Men of Genius Fantasy Football League. It's been around for 25 years. I finally won this year for the first time.
Bravo.
It's a great group of Johnnies. I know you guys love talking about fantasy football, but I had to do the show.
Congratulations. No, that's
yes.
good to win.
Yes. It's
Sincere
at least I
Judd.
get some money, if you can say that legally on these forums, but whatever. Yeah. But no, great group of guys, great group of Johnnies. Good to keep in touch with them through the nonsense of fantasy football. My Twins text thread, which we call groin contusion, which is the official injury diagnosis that Mitch Garver got when he took one off the seeds back in 2021. Love those guys. Love talking Twins baseball with those guys. I am the most positive of that crew, so I could tell you like how negative that banter you get on that thread, but love those guys and love staying in touch with them through that forum as well. And then lastly, just like to thank anybody, friends, family, coworkers over the years who has listened to me rant and rave about the trials in the very future, several trials and few tribulations of Minnesota sports over the years. I'm going to have a ton of passion for Minnesota sports. It is time that we get a championship. I need lawn chairs on Nicollet Mall. We need a parade. I don't see who's going to do it, but we have to get one in the near future here because this town absolutely needs it, and I need it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Brother.
Mike, great stuff, dude. Awesome predictions. Awesome rant. And we'll do it again sometime. Good luck.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. Take care of yourself.
All right, there he is, guest listener, predictor Mike here. Before we make our final predictions, we can predict that MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air will do a good job in your home. That's what we can predict.
100%. And guess what? Here's the thing, too. When it comes to their services, they are things that you need quickly, right? Like if something goes wrong with the plumbing, you don't want to wait. You want to get somebody that you can 100% trust. And we're talking about two important things here, trust and quality. And Sports Dad is here to tell you that he has used them most recently to fix his furnace, and trust and quality and quickness are three things that they do extremely well. And those things are so important because these are things that you need a guy for. You need someone, because they're not DIY jobs, that you can rely upon to get the job done. MSP does this every single time. For service, call them at 651-615-4292 or check out their website, callmsp.com. Call msp.com. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Trust and quality is what they are all about.
Dennis Kirk is all about quality as well. And you can also trust that Dennis Kirk will have the most parts, apparel, and accessories for riding season. Motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, snowmobiles. If you're looking ahead, planning ahead for, 7-8 months from now, DennisKirk.com to find a full selection, all the top brands. They also offer same-day shipping on orders placed before 6 p.m. Central and free shipping on orders over $89. Also, new lifetime returns. So if your product is still like new and they still carry the product, you can return it even 10 years later. So I don't know, maybe you got something that it's still like in the package or close to like new. You can bring it back, and Dennis Kirk will have your back there. DennisKirk.com. All right, dudes.
Write this down.
Judd's third and final prediction here.
So I'm caught up in the wave of Phil's rage and anger and the fact that Positive Phil has left the building. And so I'm going to make a Wolves prediction as well. So this has been really weird. Like, Jenkins gets fired by the Grizzlies in late March with, I think, 9 games left, and that's weird. But then Mike Malone gets blown out yesterday. The Nuggets have 3 games left in the season. So that's really weird. But these are some guys, as Phil said, they're not going to be out there long. Like, they're going to get jobs. So write this down. Mike Malone will be the Wolves head coach before the end of the 25-26 season. So Mike Malone will be the Wolves coach. I think now that we've got clarity with A-Rod and Laurie, I don't think the Conley's going to leave. I don't think. And if he doesn't leave, just this whole season, I don't know that there's going to be, of course, dependent on what happens in the playoffs as well. I don't know there's going to be a lot of patience there. Like, if they start next year sort of up and down and they're not, and it's the same stuff, I think Conley's going to get agitated enough. Malone's his guy. Malone, I think, is a good coach. So Mike Malone will be the Wolves coach before the end of the 25-26 season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
I'm just
there.
caught up in your wave of like angst and anger, and I'm sort of thriving off of it because it just drives me, the negativity.
There is a lot to unpack, and I assure you in the audience we will unpack it on Flagrant Howls in depth today. But yeah, it is Tim Connolly, Mike Malone, when he was doing his press conference after the Tim Connolly to the Wolves news broke like 3 summers ago. Mm-hmm. Malone's a different personality than Chris Finch, and he can be a little bit rigid and fiery. And he said, I don't have any friends that aren't in the Denver Nuggets organization. But then he softened up a little and said, I wouldn't be the Nuggets head coach if not for Tim Connolly. They worked together for Connolly put Malone in that position, and those guys built a championship team, 90% of a championship team together. And then Booth came in and took over, and they acquired a couple role players that pushed it over the top because Connolly was here when the Nuggets won the championship. But Like, that dude is available. So it puts whatever pressure you thought was on Finch a week ago, multiply it after the news that came out yesterday. So, all right, Dex, your final prediction.
Write this down.
Okay, I think I can make this prediction. If you guys want to shoot this down, we can have a conversation. But we were discussing a name in our text thread a few weeks ago, a buzzword by our buddy Doogie. And I'm going to quantify this. Write this down. Before the end of the year, Doogie will bring up the name Booth Gotch on a scoop session between now and the end of the year. I know Doogie might be listening to this and watching this, and there might be some collusion involved.
Yeah.
The name Booth Gotch, which is burned into my brain from Doogie and his scoop sessions like 3 years ago.
Yep.
This will be re-brought up. The name will resurface on a Scoops episode between now and the end of the year.
He is one of the best players in the Finnish professional league right now.
Yep.
Booth Gotch.
So I think to make it a little bit more of a safer prediction just from it, if he watches this and brings up that he knows that you talked about Booth Gotch, I don't think that counts.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But 100%, if Booth Gotch surfaces as an independent name, then ding, ding, ding for you.
I'm gonna try and make this happen for Dex, but I'm not gonna tamper aggressively. But I may try to lead him. I'll just mention
what do you know what's going on in
like,
basketball Finland?
Yeah, professional.
Well,
I don't know.
there.
There's ways to maybe get Doogie to go there.
Write this down.
But yes, I think that's a good pick.
And then write this down. Final prediction here. Micah Nori's name will be credibly linked to the Denver Nuggets head coach opening.
See that?
Micah Nori's name will be credibly linked to the Denver Nuggets head coach opening.
And so
Write it down.
to be clear, they blew out Calvin Booth, the GM, as well, right?
Yeah.
So like they're gonna have to start from GM and then coach and then so that's
With 4 games left.
Bizarre timing.
The whole thing is wild. Now, those guys, this is the best. All this stuff happened. The NBA media sometimes is very like, oh, keep things. Yesterday, all these stories come out that these guys like basically gave each other the silent treatment for the last year and
It was Zim and Spielman.
rip each other behind each other's backs.
Yeah.
How does everyone in the NBA media know that and it doesn't get reported widely? What's it, just to preserve relationships? It's weird.
And why do you allow this if you're the Nuggets ownership group? Why do you allow this to go down to now and then make the move?
Do it in a month.
Right. Or in January, right? Like if you knew that they weren't talking, blow them out then. But like the Vikings waited, which made sense. And it's
because it was like a 4-month thing kind of, right? It was, it sounds like it was, I mean, it was deteriorating over time.
Yes.
But you know, they waited till the end of the year and they made it all
You're going to go into the playoffs with, it's just bizarre.
And the only reason why you would do that is if you thought extracting those guys from the organization and putting David Adelman and I guess Ryan Saunders in charge is going to spark them to a championship run. So anyways, plenty more on Flagrant Howls today here.
These shows are bubbling with so much anger.
As they should
I've never
be.
felt so alive. I've never felt better about these shows.
Write that down. The only show in America that has the stones enough to put statistics next to our predictions.